is what we gotta do. This is what we gotta do. Yeah. Running back nation, what is good? Let me get back to my normal voice.
Running back nation, what is good? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. We got to eat some crow today. Why do they say that, by the way? Why do they say eat crow? Did people used to eat crow? Or did they used to make people eat crow who were wrong about things? I don't know, man. But we got to eat some crow today. Because the New York Knicks won last night. And Jalen Brunson hit the dagger. And, you know, I of course, was rooting for the Detroit Pistons. It was pretty evident a couple games into the series that they didn't have enough. They would have needed miraculous performances by a couple of players that are not known for giving miraculous performances. Cough, cough, Tobias Harris. The Knicks get it done, man. And then we're going to talk about also the Clippers forcing a Game 7. Eating a little crow on the James Harden topic also because, you know, after scoring 11 points in Game 5 and giving me fuel to talk trash, James Harden had a good game last night. And Kawhi Leonard and Norman Powell and everybody. So Clippers force a Game 7. New York Knicks go on to face the Boston Celtics in the second round, and I can't handle that because I want both teams to lose. What am I supposed to do? You know? What am I supposed to do when the Celtics play the Knicks, man? Who am I supposed to root for? I don't know what to do, man. Shout out to everybody in here. DFJ Hoops, what's up, bro? Miguel Cardillo. Mark T, what's up? Shrey, what's going on, man? Mike Malone to the Spurs rumor is heating up. Miguel, did I already shout out Miguel? I think I did. Shoquan, what's up? Root for the Celtics. We love our haters. Shout out to Celtics fans in the chat. Any Knicks fans in the chat? Drop something in the chat if you're a Knicks fans. Congratulations, New York Knicks. You are moving on to the second round. A very close series, man. It's really wild, you know, how a series can be that close. Like the Detroit Pistons were within a couple of points, a couple of bounces of the basketball, a couple of shots going in and out from winning the series, man. Like the series was close. There was most of the games were decided within like 1 to 3 points. And that's why it's a 7-game series, man, because at the end of the day, the team that has the most skill, the deepest roster, and the most clutch performers are going to win in a 7-game series. And so we're going to talk about Jalen Brunson straight up to start this show. Shout out Jabbar Wright, member of the channel. What's going on, man? Philly first. Crazy how Lakers fans made excuses regarding clock given to their stars and that being the reason why they couldn't finish. However, Harden goes for 40 plus and pushed to Game 7. What? Celtics fan here, kind of happy we don't have to wait any longer, but it still would have been hilarious if New York lost in round 1. You pray for meteor, Eastwood. Oh, Celtics versus Knicks. I pray for a meteor to hit the earth. All right, man. Shout out to everybody in here. Hit the like button for me one time. Let's go ahead and just talk about it, man. I have to give credit where credit is due. I express my distaste for the way that Jalen Brunson plays the game a lot of times because of the foul baiting and the flopping. The series last season with the Sixers left a bad taste in my mouth with Jalen Brunson because the NBA was calling it a little bit differently than they're calling it this season. You know, last season he was getting in the lane. He was intentionally sliding in front of the defender and jumping kind of backwards and drawing fouls, okay? And they were calling it every time. And Kelly Oubre kept falling for it. But it got to the point in that series, especially Game 6, where I was calling it out before it happened. I was like, stay away from him. He's going to slide in, stop, and jump backwards. And he did it again and basically ended the series on free throws. That just gave me so much Jalen Brunson hate, okay? But I want to give credit this season and in this series with the Detroit Pistons because, yeah, he still does his little antics. You know, yeah, even Asar Thompson late in the fourth quarter was playing good defense on him right there by the sideline. And he did this whole just kind of lean in, throw your head back, and jump out of bounds. And Ed Malloy called the foul. There was one on the baseline where he tripped, lost his balance, and just dove onto his chest. And Ed Malloy again called the foul. They challenged that one, and it was overturned. The Detroit Pistons crowd was chanting flopper, you know, so he still does his little things. But the NBA stopped giving calls on this, what I called the slide cancel last year. Shout out to my Call of Duty heads. But like sliding in front of guys driving to the rim and jumping backwards, they stopped calling that. They stopped calling a lot of things, and Jalen Brunson had to, I guess, change the way that he attacks the game in the fourth quarter, and he did that. You know, if you give the guy the calls, he's going to do it all fourth quarter, right? Like last season in that Sixers series. But when you stop giving him the calls and he says, okay, I just got to go put the ball in the hoop, he 100% does it, and he does it better than anybody in the NBA. He does it better than anybody in the NBA, man. And I watched it again last night. I saw what was happening. The Detroit Pistons went on a crazy run in the last 8 minutes of the game. They had it in the bag. They were up by 5 with 2 minutes left. And Jalen Brunson took over the game by himself with a great defender on him who had been hounding him the whole game and had major stops throughout the whole game. Fourth quarter, crunch time, under 2 minutes, Jalen Brunson dominated. You know, he got the and one on the right side on Tim Hardaway Jr. And then under the rim, kind of loses his balance 2 different times, turns back around, almost falls over. I think last year he would have tried to sell one of those calls, but he knew they weren't calling it. So he stayed on his feet and made a ridiculous, like, off-balance reverse layup under the rim. There was a play where somehow the Detroit Pistons let Jalen Brunson get his own offensive rebound and put back. That's ridiculous for the shortest guy on the floor to be able to do that. But then it comes down to what? 113, right? Cade Cunningham goes cold at the wrong time. Malik Beasley turns into Bucks Malik Beasley. You know, Tobias Harris is Tobias Harris. Dennis Schroeder, Tim Hardaway Jr., like we were saying this whole series, if Dennis Schroeder and Tim Hardaway Jr. are carrying you, you're going to lose the series. They're not going to give you 25 every night, you know? So at the end of the day, the Knicks had more than the Pistons, but 113, 10 seconds left. 1-on-1, Asar Thompson. I was sitting on the couch in my living room. My girlfriend sitting next to me. I said, he's going to hit the game winner. I just know it. And he crosses him out of his Wally moccasins and gets a wide open 3 from the top of the key. And there was a 0% chance that Jalen Brunson was going to miss that shot. He just has it. He has it. Something about him. When it matters the most, it's going in. There's nothing you can do about it. And, I mean, Asar Thompson was playing great defense that whole fourth quarter, the whole game, really. And for Jalen Brunson to cross him out of the camera frame and hit the 3 to win the game, it's just massive, man. And I got to give him props. Man. I don't know how. You know, some people were saying this was a push-off. I don't think it was a push-off. See, there's extreme haters that even when somebody does something great and you witness it, they still won't admit it. I'm not an extreme hater. If somebody does something great and I witness it, I'm going to say it. He crosses him out of the camera frame, dude. Oh, my. Good Lord. Where did he go? He's in the first row. He's sitting with the courtside fans. He gone. And then has all the time in the world to take 2 dribbles. And again, something about Jalen Brunson, man. He's hitting that shot with 4 seconds left 100 times out of 100. So, yeah, Jalen Brunson, the last 2 minutes of this game, absolutely took it over by himself. It was an incredibly clutch performance. He is the most clutch player in the NBA. Statistically, for a reason. He has the most fourth quarter field goals. He shoots 56% from the field in the fourth quarter. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it, man. And he shout out to Jalen Brunson for putting the team on his back with no time left and hitting the shot to win it and ending the series in 6. And now you got Knicks Celtics, man. Let's look at it a little bit closer with the stats. Boxing, the most popping event this weekend. What? Joel Embiid and the Sixers would have lost that game last night. 100%, man. 100%. And shout out to the Detroit Pistons for, again, never giving up. They were down by 10 in the third quarter, right? They were down by 11, I feel like, with a couple of minutes left in the game. And that run that they went on was huge. 23-4 run in the fourth quarter with 9 minutes to go, all the way down to 2:35. At 2:35, there should be, this says runs here on the Real Sports app, right? There should be another one down here that says Knicks run 8-0 by Jalen Brunson to win the game. Insane. Well, there was Mikal Bridges' putback also that was big time, I don't know how you don't box out in crunch time, but somebody missed a shot on the right side. Maybe it was a Brunson floater or something, and Mikal Bridges got the putback. Detroit just didn't have enough, man, at the end of the day. Cade Cunningham can't do everything himself. It's crazy. He's 23 years old. He had 23 points in this game. Cade averaged, what did Cade average in this series? 25? Look how close these games were, man. Like, the Detroit Pistons were so close to winning this series if some things go differently in a certain amount of games. But that's the difference between experience and clutch playoff performers and a young team. And Cade Cunningham is 23 years old. I mean, what you got? Knicks win by 11, game 1. Game 2, Pistons win by 6. Game 3, Knicks by 2. Game 4, Knicks by 1. Game 5, Pistons by 3. Game 6, Knicks by 3 on a Jalen Brunson game winner. Look at that. Averages. Knicks averaged 108. Pistons averaged 106.7. The series was a difference of 1.3 points per game. That is wild. Jalen Brunson averaged 31.5 on the series. Cade Cunningham averaged 25. And I think this is the difference between a 28-year-old who's a veteran and a known crunch time playoff performer. 31.5. Cade Cunningham at 23 years old took the Detroit Pistons. Nobody thought the Detroit Pistons were going to be anything this year yet. So it's incredible what Cade Cunningham did with the Detroit Pistons so far, this season. So far, I guess their season's over. But I think that the next step for Cade Cunningham is being a playoff performer. With a team that your second option is who? Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder, Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr. You would need Cade Cunningham to put up the 31.5 per game that Jalen Brunson put up. But we'll see what the Pistons do in the offseason. But an incredible series by Cade Cunningham, 25, 8, and 8. I mean, the guy is a phenom for just a 23-year-old player. But yeah, he missed a couple of buckets down the stretch that would have helped Detroit win the game there, and Brunson turned on the clutch. What about our boy Tobias Harris, man? What about our boy Tobias Harris? Shout out to Asar Thompson. He had great defense except for the, getting crossed out of his shoes on that final shot. Jalen Duren had a massive game too. That's another kid. He's 21 years old, man. 6'10", 250 at 21 years old. And is a pretty good free throw shooter for a center also. I could see Jalen Duren in the next couple of years developing into something, Maybe he could develop more of an offensive game, more of a face-up jump shot type of game and become like, some kind of Joel Embiid-esque type of player. You never know with him only being 21 years old. I was talking about it last night too. It's wild how some 21-year-olds are built like 21-year-olds and they need years of development and putting on weight, and then some 21-year-olds are just built like 30-year-old grown-ass men. Jalen Duren, 6'10", 250. No real body development needed for that guy. But it'd be interesting. He's again, like, he's a pretty good free throw shooter. He was 9 for 10 from the free throw line. And so, the shot mechanics are there for Jalen Duren. Maybe he develops something more of an offensive game. Tobias Harris had 14 points. He was a minus 23. Now, I don't want to say that the Pistons lost because of Tobias Harris, okay? There was a certain instance where he was driving to the rim in the third or the fourth quarter, looked like he was going to dunk on somebody and put up the weakest, most Tobias Harris airball layup I've ever seen. And the very next possession, Mikal Bridges posters Cade Cunningham with the left hand, just to kind of show you, hey, this is how you finish in the playoffs, And people did remind me yesterday that the Pistons had Tobias Harris off of the floor for that whole run, and they put him back in the game with about 2 minutes left, and they lost the game. I'm not saying Tobias Harris played a terrible game. 14 and 5, 6 for 10 from the field, 60%, 67 true shooting percentage. But how do you manage to be a minus 23? And with the minus 23, I mean, look, nobody else is a minus even 10. Nobody else is a minus 10. Just every time Tobias Harris got on the floor, the New York Knicks made a run. There's really nothing else you can say besides the fact that for some reason, when Tobias Harris was on the floor, the Detroit Pistons were worse at basketball. I've seen it so many times in Philly. I don't know what it is about him, but for some reason, you're just probably better without Tobias Harris. It happened in Philly so many times where we were like, I don't really know why, but we're just better without Tobias Harris. To the point where he would get like a little bit of an ankle injury and we would kind of celebrate it. We'd be like, oh, I don't want to celebrate an injury, but I hope he's out for like 7 games. I don't know what it is, bro. I don't know how you managed to be a minus 23 in a game where nobody else was even a minus 8. And yeah, the same, I guess, coaching mistakes. I talked about it before, but Sixers coaches have fallen into it before, where, they respect Tobias Harris. They like him a lot. His tools, in theory, are something you want out there on the floor. His size, his shooting ability, in theory, is something you want out on the floor. His ability to guard players in the post, in theory, is something you want on the floor. But when you go on a 20-4 run, when you go on a 23-4 run, you probably shouldn't change the lineup. What happened? Done. When you go on a 23-4 run, and, you take the lead in the fourth quarter, I don't know why you change anything about what you're doing. And they put Tobias Harris back in the game, and they lost the game. And I don't know how, but he's a minus 23. Yeah, I found a way to blame Tobias Harris. Shout out to me for that. Lie Nugent, don't disrespect Toby, man. Well, welcome to Run It Back Philly. Jalen Duren is the next Andre Drummond. Nah, I don't see that comparison. Andre Drummond can't shoot a free throw to save his life. Never could shoot a free throw to save his life. Still can't shoot a free throw to save his life. Jalen Duren, 9 for 10 from the free throw line. He was 8 for 8. He was 9 for 9. He only missed one the last time he went to the line. I think Jalen Duren can develop a bit of an offensive game, and I don't think Andre Drummond has never had an offensive game. Don't let the fact that Nick Nurse runs post-ups for Andre Drummond blind you from the fact that Andre Drummond does not have an offensive game. Rob R, thank you for the super chat, man. I'm backing Boston in round 2. Yeah, I said it. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. That's how disgusted I am with Brunson and his Dolphin activity. Yeah, again, I watched last night's game. I watched Jalen Brunson absolutely take the game over in the fourth quarter by himself the final 2 minutes. It was one of the most clutch performances I've ever seen. I gained a lot of respect for Jalen Brunson last night at the end of the game. They overturned the one flop on the baseline, okay? And yay, did it again kind of at the out of bounds line mid-court, and they called it. I hate that. But if you're going to call it, he's going to keep doing it. I don't respect it. I think it's like, where's your pride? Where's your dignity to play the game that way? But the final 2 minutes it was just alpha activity. The final 2 minutes was just Jalen Brunson being more of a dog than everybody else on the floor and maybe everybody else in the NBA. And again, when he crossed Asar Thompson off of the screen out of the arena, I think Asar Thompson is still running. He's still tripping over his own feet from that crossover. He has not stopped stumbling. When he crossed over Asar Thompson and got that wide open three with 4 seconds left, everybody on the planet knew it was going in. I can't say anything bad about Jalen Brunson after that, and it's kind of making me... I can't believe I'm about to say this. It kind of made me want Jalen Brunson to upset the Boston Celtics. Damn. Did I just say that? Bro. What else do I have on this game? Give credit to the Pistons for always fighting back. Malik Beasley just bricks in the fourth quarter. Bricks on bricks on bricks. And then he goes into the postgame show. His postgame presser, Malik Beasley. Oh, by the way, game-ending turnover for Malik Beasley. I forgot about that. This is why I take notes, because I can't remember anything. Brunson hits the shot. And as a Knicks fan, I only hate Tobias Harris because of you. Jalen Brunson hits the three at the top of the key. 4 seconds left. The Pistons have a chance, and Cunningham tries to feed Malik Beasley on the wing, and he drops the ball. A Gary Trent Jr.-esque play, right? And number one, I think Cade Cunningham has to take the ball into his own hands right there. I know he missed a couple layups going to the rim late in the fourth quarter. He wasn't having a good time scoring the ball late. But I think you are the best player on the floor for your team. You have to take that final shot. And I know Cade Cunningham is a point guard, and he has that point guard mentality, and they doubled him at the top, and he made the point guard play. Swing it to the right to the three-point shooter on the wing. Would have been a game winner. The guy dropped the ball. Then he comes into his post-game press conference and says, Malik Beasley, that is, he says, I'm the best shooter in the world. He said something about somebody else. I forget. Jalen Brunson's the best clutch performer in the world or something, and he hit the shot to go up, and he said, I wanted the final shot because I'm the best shooter in the world. What? First of all, my friend, Steph Curry's the best shooter in the world. Second of all, Malik Beasley to me is a J.R. Smith type. Great shooter at times. Kind of gets ahead of himself, gets too cocky, starts to think he's some kind of superstar. I mean, I watched this guy hit threes and do a dance in like the first quarter of a Sixers game down by 10 points. This guy will make a three and do like a TikTok dance in the corner in the first quarter of a basketball game. Like, what are we doing? You know, he's interesting to me, man. And he seems like a little bit of a head case where fourth quarter crunch time, you're taking early shot clock threes in transition and shooting bricks, right? And then you got you have a potential game winner and you drop the ball out of bounds. And then you call yourself the best shooter in the world in your post-game press conference. Malik Beasley is I don't know, man. He's an interesting guy. He is an interesting guy. What else do we want to say about this Knicks game? I guess nothing, man. Knicks versus Celtics. Who am I going to root for? I can't call it, man. I can't call it. What do you guys think in the chat, man? Sixers fans? Is there Celtics fans in here? Is there Knicks fans? Who are you guys rooting for? Who are you guys rooting for in the Knicks-Celtics series? Brunson made Thompson slide like he was in risky business. I hope my Knicks can win 2 games. Are they that? Is it that much of a mismatch? You know? I don't think maybe it's my Boston Celtics hate blinding me again. But I don't think the Boston Celtics are some kind of juggernaut, man. Who had the widest margin of victory in the first round playoff series? What team? I'll tell you what team. It was actually the widest margin of victory in the history of the NBA playoffs first round. This team that I'm about to tell you had the widest margin of victory in a first round playoff series in NBA history. It was not the Boston Celtics. It was the Cleveland Cavaliers over the Miami Heat, even though Tyler Hero said, you know, don't let us get one game, and then puts up a massive 11-point performance in game 4. I don't even know if he had 11. I think he had 9, actually. But the Boston Celtics, man, look, incredibly talented. Maybe the best roster ever assembled, talent-wise, right? Defensive-wise, you know, to have Derek White and Drew Holiday, 2 of the best defensive two-way point guards in the NBA on the same team is kind of unfair. To add Porzingis is kind of unfair. You know, they are a dominant roster, but I think the Boston Celtics play with their food a little more than the Cleveland Cavaliers do. And the Boston Celtics, to me, have a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for, man? They have a little bit of like, I deserve this. And they have a little bit of cockiness that they just yell at the refs in a way that's like, we are the Boston Celtics and you are supposed to call this. Roll out the red carpet for me. You know, I want them to lose so bad. And the Cavaliers are the only team that can do it. And we'll see if it happens, man. Miami Heat have no stars on that team. Of course, they're going to lose by 55. Well, I mean, do the Orlando Magic have stars? I mean, I guess you can call Paolo a star, so that makes sense. But the Celtics should have had a pretty wide margin of victory over the Orlando Magic. I mean, you're going to, you know, you went 5 games with Franz Wagner. The guy's a 29% three-point shooter. You know, who else is on the Orlando Magic? They got dudes starting that I've never even heard of, you know? But yeah, that's how I feel about it. I am hereby rooting for the New York Knicks to beat the Boston Celtics. Damn. I am. I absolutely am. And the thing about it is that the Sixers fans hate the Celtics. Now, this is something that's in my DNA. This is something that's completely out of my control. This started in the 80s with the Dr. J. Larry Bird era. This started in this goes way back. You know, and the Celtics have taken the Sixers out in the first round more years than I can count over the past 10 years. But I can't ever root for the Boston Celtics. There's people on Twitter saying Sixers fans should be rooting for the Celtics to win this series because we're supposed to hate the Knicks this much. And I just gained a little bit more respect for the Knicks in this series, particularly at the end of this game, this game 6. And I will never, ever root for the Boston Celtics to win a playoff series. That's like an Eagles fan rooting for the Dallas Cowboys. It's not going to happen. I can't do it. So I am choosing which team I despise less, and it is the New York Knicks, slightly less than the Boston Celtics. So I got to root for the Knicks in this series, man. That's where I'm at, man. Wow, did he say that? I'm a Knicks fan. If the Sixers play the Celtics, I would root for the Sixers. Yeah, we all hate the Celtics. We all hate the Celtics. Me and all my homies hate the Celtics. Actually, I have a couple of good friends that are Celtics fans, but that's because they're idiots. What if Knicks beat Celtics in this series due to Brunson going full flopper on them? No, I don't think the referees are going to call that type of stuff in this series. What a day. Does Celtics or a bigger rival to the next 76ers are? Does Celtics or a bigger rival to the next 76ers are? I don't know what that means. Yeah, anyway, what else we want to talk about, man? The Clippers force a game 7. And, James Harden comes up big time. Kawhi Leonard comes up big time. Norman Powell comes up big time. We said in last game, right when James Harden put up a very classic James Harden playoff game, 11 points total, and Kawhi Leonard, I think, had 17. We were saying that, the Clippers are going to need Norman Powell to step up in games like that because on paper, the Clippers have, that team that has multiple scoring options versus the Nuggets who don't have multiple scoring options or don't have as many. I feel the same about the Clippers over the Nuggets as I felt about the Knicks over the Pistons. The Knicks just have too many options. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, whereas Josh Hart, whereas the Pistons are really relying on Cade Cunningham and hoping that Dennis Schroeder and Tim Hardaway Jr. continue to play above what they really are. I feel the same way about the Clippers versus the Nuggets. The Nuggets need Jamal Murray to give you that 43 points that he gave you in game 5 or game 4. He didn't do that last night. The Clippers, on the other hand, they can have a game where Harden gives you 11 and Kawhi Leonard doesn't have a great game, and they can have other guys step up like Norman Powell, who was an all-star this season, had a great season. And Harden being the point guard on this team is one of the main reasons Norman Powell had a big season. But basically everybody for the Clippers stepped up last night. Harden had a great game, 28, 8, 6, 2 steals, a +2. Kawhi Leonard, 27 and 10, 5 assists, a +14. And then Norman Powell also gives you 24 points on 9 of 15 from the field. And it really wasn't even that close the whole game. There was times where the Clippers were up by 12 or 14. Denver would fight back. But you kind of felt like this one was basically, it felt like a 20-point victory for the Clippers. They kind of were in control the whole time. And, it's because you got massive performances from Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Norman Powell. Shout out to Nicholas Batum, by the way. Huge assists down the stretch. 2 off the top of my head that were just dimes for open threes in the corner. He finished with 6 points and 6 assists. And Sixers fans, I think we only had Nicholas Batum for 1 season, and we loved everything that he did. He's a great high IQ, great passer for a big man. Still plays great defense for a guy that's like 35 years old, I feel like. And Nicholas Batum is a big-time piece for the Clippers also. I think I see the Clippers finishing this off in 7. I didn't even think it would go to 7 after the first Clippers win. I thought the Nuggets were down and out, like right when the series started, and then the Nuggets won a couple of like miraculous games that they shouldn't have really won, where they just kind of got it out the mud and came up with some big wins. But like again, that's why it's a 7-game series. You know, the better team is going to win in 7 games. And the Nuggets really would need that 40-plus point Jamal Murray performance. They don't really have enough outside of that. Nikola Jokic, 25, 7, and 8. He kind of did what I said 3 games ago, where when the rest of his team is struggling, he needs to step up and be a dominant scorer, you know, and he's just not that kind of guy. Nikola Jokic is not that kind of guy. He's not the kind of guy that's going to step up and give you 50 when you need 50. He's a pass-first point center. He instinctually wants to pass the ball and set guys up. And 2 games ago, he was a little more dominant in the scoring department, which I think they needed at the time. And last night with Jamal Murray only giving you 21, you would have needed Nikola Jokic to give you another 30, 35, and he didn't do that. And even he was a little bit soft. Nikola Jokic was a little bit soft in this game, especially down the stretch in the fourth quarter. There was possessions where he was trying to assert himself offensively, scoring wise, and there was a lot of contact by Zubac, and he was kind of just yelling at the refs instead of putting the ball in the hoop. So I think Nikola Jokic down the stretch of this game played a little bit weak and was a little bit too focused on the officials. You're in the playoffs. You're in a game 6. They're going to allow a little bit more contact than usual. You got to put the ball in the hoop. You're 7 feet tall, 300 pounds. We know, we've seen you do it before. We know how strong you are. Just played a little bit weak down the stretch, man. And I thought he was yelling at the refs instead of putting the ball in the hoop. And that's what ended up costing them the game. You know, the Nuggets need an incredible performance from both guys, Jokic and Murray, to win this game 7. They're not deep enough for these 2 guys to give you 21 and 25. They're not deep enough for those 2 guys to give you 21 and 25. The Clippers, Harden could have a bad game. Kawhi Leonard could give you 40. Powell could give you 30. You know, Denver's undermanned as far as just talent on paper compared to the Clippers. They need these 2 guys to be superstars in Game 7 to win this. And I just don't really think that's going to happen. So I think we're going to get Clippers in Game 7. I think we're going to get, Clippers in Game 7 advance to the second round. Knicks versus Celtics. I can't believe I am slightly rooting for the New York Knicks to beat the Boston Celtics. The fact that everybody thinks people are calling it a sweep, right? People are calling Knicks Celtics a sweep. You know? That makes me want the Knicks to win this series even more. Because the Boston Celtics are not unbeatable, man. They're not unbeatable. I don't know why you would call it a sweep. It's not going to be a sweep, but they might not win. What did I want to look at, man? Oh yeah, current playoff bracket, NBA playoff bracket 2025. So if Denver or if the Clippers win Game 7, where are we at here? Let's see it. Where are we at? We're going to be Thunder versus Clippers if the Clippers win Game 7. I think the Clippers are going to win Game 7, but the Nuggets could. The 3 wins that they had in this series were like incredible wins. So maybe they pull off an incredible Game 7. It is in Denver. So we'll see there. Timberwolves, Rockets, Warriors tonight. The Rockets, they hounded the hell out of Steph Curry in the last game. It felt like the Warriors kind of quit in the second quarter. I don't know, man. If the Rockets win this next one, they got a lot of momentum going. If they force a Game 7, the Warriors are in big time trouble. The Warriors, there's more pressure on the Warriors in Game 6 than there is on the Rockets in Game 6. And then why don't we have the East on here? Oh, we got to scroll over. What the freak? All right, let's zoom out. The East. Cavs, Pacers, Knicks, Celtics. We got the Cavs. It's going to be a longer series than it's not going to be. It's going to be a 6-game series. The Pacers are deep. They play hard. They got a lot of chemistry. They've been playing together for a long time. I think they take 2 games over the Cavs. I think that goes to 6. Knicks, Celtics. Knicks in 7. Ugh! Knicks in 7. Fuck the Celtics. Yeah. Knicks in 7. What you guys think, man? Any hot takes, questions, comments, anything you want to say to me in the chat before we get out of here? Ask a question or something. Let's do it, man. Vlad Rack, what's going on, man? Shout out to the members in the chat. As a Knicks fan, I know that's not true. Where is the faith? Michelle? Where is the faith? Pistons are 0-3 at home in the playoffs. That's pretty impressive. You're right. That's pretty impressive. Warriors blow out the Rockets. That would make the most sense, I think, when you look at how the last game went. But the way the Rockets play defense, and yeah, you're not going to get 25 from Dillon Brooks again. You know, Dillon Brooks was, dude, he was like ISO scoring and hitting like elbow jumpers with the hand. Dillon Brooks turned into Michael Jordan somehow last game. So yeah, I don't think that's going to continue. But the way the Rockets played defense on Steph Curry is kind of what I said, you know, before the series even started. Trap Steph Curry at half court, make Podziemski beat you. It's not going to happen. So it's going to be a great game 6 tonight at 9:00. I think expect to see the Rockets do that again, where they say, fuck it. We can't stop Steph Curry. Make Jimmy Butler beat us. Make Podziemski beat us. Make somebody else beat us. I think that's what they're going to do from the opening minute of the game. They're going to double and trap Steph Curry at half court. He only had 2 shot attempts in the first quarter of that game. Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, Porzingis, Derek White, Drew Holiday is not a super team to you. You're delusional. How much more help you need? Somebody said it's not a super team. Eric, let me see Eric's comment here. Let me follow the conversation here. Eric Delgado. A super team was LeBron's Heat for the old KG Celtics. Yeah, I'm with Eric on this, man. I'm not calling that a super team. I'm calling, you know, it's a well-built roster. It's a very, very well-built roster. A super team, I think, is where you feel like it's unfair because a superstar from another franchise, right, elected to leave that franchise and join forces with another superstar in another franchise, and they were like, hey, we're both superstars. We're all 3 superstars. You know, Chris Bosh in Toronto, LeBron James in Cleveland, Dwayne Wade in Miami. They were like, hey, we're all 3 superstars. Instead of battling each other and giving a good product to the fans, let's play for the same team and dominate the NBA together. That's a super team, you know? The Boston Celtics team was just constructed by management. Better than anybody else did it. And it was Danny Ainge, who I still call the best GM in the history of the NBA. And then Brad Stevens was the coach. Brad Stevens becomes his understudy. Danny Ainge gets bored with it. He's like, all right, I did it. Let me go over to Utah and do it again for fun. So now he's in Utah. Brad Stevens is the GM in Boston. But, dude, they drafted Jason Tatum in 2017 when the Sixers traded up to take Markelle Fultz, you know? They drafted Jalen Brown in 2016 at number 3. That was the Ben Simmons draft. Remember that. Jalen Brown was talked about as a project. Nobody had him in the top 5. Danny Ainge drafted Jalen Brown at number 3. Everybody was like, what the you know? And then they make the Drew Holiday trade. They make the Derek White trade. They make the Porzingis trade. Was Porzingis a trade or a free agent signing? But either way, man, you can't, I don't think that qualifies as a super team because it was just good move after good move after good move by management, where super teams, I feel like, are where a couple of superstars join forces and say, let's dominate the NBA by joining forces. It was really just the Miami Heat. The 2011 Miami Heat, you know, is the only real super team, I think. Oh, no, Durant joining the Warriors in 2017. That's That's a super team. That ruined the product. That ruined the NBA. Nobody wants to see that. Everybody knows who's going to win. You can't, you know what I mean? And then Kevin Durant gets up there after they win the championship acting like they were counted out. People talked everything about us. No, everybody knew you were going to win, bro. You cheated the system. You joined the 73-9 Warriors, dude. That's just my opinion. That's what a super team is to me. We got a super chat here. Backpack Val, what's up? Thank you for the support, man. Had to show love only because you said Knicks in 7. Diehard Knicks fan here. Became a fan of your channel from last year's playoffs. Salute to you, good brother. Hey, man, I appreciate the love. And I mostly appreciate people that are fans of other teams that can hear my takes and not get so butthurt about them that they, I just had somebody yesterday that was like, this is the first and last time I'm listening to your show. I can't believe you would say this. Blah, 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 blah. When like us grown-ups, us mature grown-ups can hear somebody say something and be like, oh, that guy hates the Knicks. It's funny, but I like his content. He's entertaining. And, whatever. It's just sports, dude. Some people just get so damn pissed off about a sports opinion. So I respect you guys that are fans of the Knicks and the Celtics that continue to rock with me even though I hate your teams. But yeah, man, I have to choose the Knicks over the Celtics. I have to. It sucks, but I have to. And I did gain a ton of respect for Jalen Brunson last night. That is one of the best final 2-minute performances I've seen watching basketball for almost 30 years. It is what it is, man. What else we got, man? 3 offensive heavy players will never work in this modern NBA. That's just a bad example of a super team. I would much rather play control in sports than owners getting rich and not doing anything to make their teams competitive. Who's one player that you really liked watching so far in round 1? Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham was amazing. Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray stepping up in Game 5 was a lot of fun because that was the Jamal Murray in the 2023 playoffs that had the back-to-back 51-point games to send them to the Western Conference Finals, or in the Western Conference Finals to send them to the NBA Finals. I haven't really watched any Cavs games yet because it was like Cavs versus Heat. Do I really want to watch that? I knew that was going to be a massacre, and it was the largest margin of victory in a playoff series ever. So I'm excited to start watching the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think. And, yeah, man. Rockets, Warriors tonight. And we'll keep it going. I appreciate you guys tuning in every single day at 12. This is Daily NBA with DJ Eastwood. I'm going to do this the rest of the playoffs. And who knows, if it keeps growing and we keep getting more and more of a general NBA audience, maybe I continue to do this every day at 12 for the rest of eternity. Because I hate talking about the 76ers. Oh, yeah, there is some Sixers news that people hit me up and ask me about, and I want to let you know that I do not care. The Sixers apparently are officially wearing the 2001 black jerseys. That white one back there is the 2001 Iverson jersey. They are officially wearing the black 2001 jerseys as an alternate. Well, you picked a good season to do it because everybody hates you and nobody wants to watch. The draft lottery is May 12th. A lot of content coming up, man. Stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button for me. And turn on your notifications. And continue to join me every day at 12. You guys are the best. I'll see you very soon.